Lincoln Road was always intended to be the commercial heart of Miami Beach. It was intended by Carl Fisher, who had laid out Miami Beach, to be the major shopping strip. And it was meant to be filled with very high-end stores, the places where people who were coming for a vacation in Miami would purchase their furs. There was also a car showroom there for Cadillacs. So there was a lot of high-end luxury shopping always in Lincoln Road. And then around the 1950s, the street began to die off. The stores there weren't frequented as much, in part because they were succumbing to competition from other stores in shopping malls that were being built around Miami Beach and throughout South Florida. And so around 1960, the merchants of Lincoln Road approached Morris Lapidus, who was one of the architects responsible for building a lot of the new shopping malls, and they asked him to come up with a plan that would revitalize Lincoln Road. And his scheme was to create this pedestrian experience, or this pedestrianized street, that would include a series of gathering areas, civic functions, most notably the band shell and other places of gathering, but also essentially to transform the experience and make it so that it wasn't a series of stores that were located one after the other, but rather a more integral experience of a pleasurable stroll down the street. Some of the things that are interesting about this pedestrianized street are the way that, for the most part, the center of the street is occupied by vegetation and is inaccessible to people. So you have these raised lawn areas or these densely planted areas. You have a few pools along the way. But in a couple of major places, like at the band shell, that center opens up and becomes a sort of a major place for public gathering. It's also interesting to note the relationship between the paving at the ground level, the architecture of the canopies and the other built-up elements, and then the plant life, because all three are part of this design, this urban streetscape by Morris Lapidus, and they work together integrally. So the ground plane is activated with these really interesting paving patterns, these stripes of these black and white stripes that run transversely across the street. And then you also have these canopies running overhead, and sometimes they're rectangular with circular or elliptical openings, sometimes they're in a zigzag configuration. They're essentially playful. They take the language of modern architecture, and especially the language of Le Corbusier's 5 points of a new architecture. One whole block added recently by the developer Robert Wennett when he built 1111 Lincoln Road. He commissioned Raymond Jungles to build one more block worth of Lincoln Road Mall, to extend the mall one block west all the way to Alton Road. It is notable both for its excellence, but also for the way it relates to Lapidus's work.